Right. Well, it's good to meet with you today. I know that we've talked a little bit about like what you're looking to get out of like today's coaching session, but could you just kind of give me a broad overview of like your business and what are you really looking to get out of today?
So, as you know, I'm in apparel printing and embroidery. My main focus, as far as clients, I do government contracts, corporations, and also schools. And so and I'm located in Southern California. So a lot of my schools are in Southern California, and I work with local cities and the state, and also the government. So with military things like that, and so today, so as I'm growing in the different fields, kind of organization of kind of what's being thrown at me as I scale up in my business. I want to kind of figure out, how to focus each day, how to break down each day and focus on what's important. Everything we want to say as business owners that everything is important, but I know some things will take you a little bit further in the day, and you can check more things off the box by doing this one thing. And so I kind of get caught up in the hustle and the bustle of the entire day with just everything that's going on. And so kind of organization of kind of, easing that burden and not feeling like I didn't get anything done today because I had so much to do.
All right. Well, I want you to know that that's a super common thing. Like when you're growing as a small business owner, you have to do everything: your marketing, your payroll, your sales, your production. So that feeling of being overwhelmed is super common. And what I want to do is just kind of do like just a brain dump of, what are the key tasks that that are taking up like a lot of your time, and then we can start to kind of think through like prioritizing, and then also think through, because I know you're starting to bring on some employees, what are some tasks that you might be able to delegate to them so that you can create some more space within your day and your week.
Yes. So I brought on three new employees within the past 3 weeks. And so right now it's kind of training them to do the day-to-day operations. There are more that they can do, but I'm still kind of training them. And as I'm training them, I'm doing a lot of follow-up. I think maybe I'm doing more than what I need to.
Mhm.
um, but I am doing a lot of follow-up. And then on top of that, everyone pretty much works a 9 to 5. So as I'm getting sent contracts to look over with government agencies. And so I have to look through those. They want those back possibly by the end of the day or early next day. And so I have to look through those as well. I'm doing quotes and mock-ups and events. Like I do a lot of networking events. I want to try to get out of the house twice a month to do those networking events and build new business. I'm also doing entrepreneurial boost camps, and I'm taking classes to make sure that I'm staying up to date on things. And there's homework every week that needs to be done there. And also the just different programs and organizations that I like to be a part of to stay knowledgeable and up to date with what's going on in just the business world in general. And so um, it's where to start.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. And so I love the fact that you're investing in like ongoing education and just making sure that you have the knowledge that you need to run the business. So let's start there. When you think about like this need for like the boot camps and the trainings and things like that, what are some of the skills or knowledge that you're looking to gain by attending these things?
I want to learn next steps. I always want to kind of be ahead of the game. I want to know if in alignment for one
Yeah.
with what I'm supposed to be doing in my business. I don't want to do anything that's not productive for the business. If no one's doing that anymore, why am I doing it? Like why if that's not how if someone has figured out a better way to do business in general, I want to know that. And so I learned that through those different cohorts and networking and peer-to-peer, information sharing. But also what's next for me. So after I master this level
Yeah.
of, business planning and day-to-day operation, what's next? Like how can I scale up so that I can prepare myself for that? And so sometimes I get that and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm a little disappointed when I don't because I spent 12 weeks in the class.
Yeah. So, as you know, like I do like these type of incubator workshops, and some of the feedback that I've gotten from the organizations that put these on is that they're really focused on like the startups and people that like don't know anything about business. And what I'm finding is that if you're in that in between zone, that is really hard. That nobody's having workshops for, okay, you have a $500,000 contract, and how do you get to 1 million? So within those, I'm hearing things around scaling. um, what do you see as your biggest challenge when it comes to scaling right now?
Needing a bigger location, but not necessarily having the funds to afford the bigger location. So I'm like right in between just the growing phases. And I may have the funds. I don't know. I haven't explored that option yet, but
Yeah.
I just um I haven't, looked into it, but is that an option for me? Like financially, like I don't I'm still, inputting QuickBooks and things like that and figuring the paperwork financial side of the business. The business is growing, but trying to make sure that the paperwork is aligned and it says that I can now, get a larger location. And so that's, I guess, and it could be fear. It could be a lot of things that those things pop up when it comes to growing a business. Like you don't know how, far you can go. The business is saying yes, but you're saying, oh, can I do that?
Yeah.
So
So, one of the things, and like as we're talking, I'm taking notes, and like towards the end, I'm going to show you like everything that like I'm putting on paper. Um, I'm a big believer in a someday maybe folder. So there's going to be things that it's like, I know I need to do this. And what I want to do is make sure you're capturing those things, and for us to establish once a month, maybe, that you peek into that someday maybe folder and go, is it time? And if it's time, then you go ahead and work on it. If it's not time, then you go, okay, well, I didn't lose thought of that idea. I have it and I can come back to it.
uh,
So one of the things that you mentioned is you don't have clarity today on how much it would actually cost you to move out.
yes,
All right.
correct.
So we need to define that. So I want to put define capital needs. And inside of that, I know we've had some conversation around like equipment. There's some equipment costs that you have. Obviously, you have the rent, and then there's probably some other things as far as utilities. But I think taking the time to actually build out that budget so that you can have clarity of, I think I need $50,000, or I think I need like $70,000. And really, to the best of our abilities, like forecasting that's going to allow you to move with a lot more confidence. And it's actually going to create a little bit of urgency around, oh, I only need $15,000 more. What am I going to do to get that extra 15,000?
Right.
If you had to guess today, how much money do you think that you need in order to move out?
Comfortably, I 200,000.
Okay.
Because I look at, well, comfortably, meaning I can support it for a year. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that I can support the move for a year and that um, employees, equipment, and rent.
Okay. I love that you're thinking about it that way, because employees, equipment, and rent. A lot of times what I find is people don't think about what I call burn rate. So the burn rate is the amount of like fixed expenses that you have like every month, whether or not you make money or not. You,
Exactly.
the nice thing about your business is you have some contracts, so you have at least a little bit of idea of how much revenue is going to come in. But
Right.
there's always uncertainty. So
Right.
um, a year is a pretty aggressive amount of money that you want to have. But I think that we can start there and then kind of adjust as you start like thinking through all of this.
Can I ask why do you think it's aggressive?
So a year is ideal. It is ideal to have like a year worth of revenue set aside. The question becomes, how long does it take for you to build up a year worth of reserves? Especially since I know you said to me that you're not like overly excited about taking out loans.
Right.
So if it just becomes a thing of understanding with the contracts that you have now and the networking activity that you have now, is there going to be a point where you can't actually fulfill the business that you want to because you just don't have enough space? So, one of the things, and this go into someday maybe, have you, and I know that this is a hard thing to kind of like communicate, but like as far as production, if if you had to produce $50,000 worth of products in a month, do you have the space to both produce that and to store that today?
No.
Okay. So that is what, you know, we need to kind of plan for because, and I use the analogy because I was in retail for a long time. We would have stores where they could sell $1,000 worth of like hot foods a day. The only problem was our freezer capacity could only hold 2,000. So every 2 days we had to get a delivery, or it was a cap on like how much we could actually sell.
Right.
What I'm anticipating as being a challenge for you is as you continue to ramp up, you're going to run into these bottlenecks of I have all this stuff that I need to order. Where am I going to put it? I have all this stuff that's been produced. It's not going to get shipped out for another 3 days. Where am I going to put it? And with some of the other clients that I've worked with that have been in this space, um, that whole storage constraint has become like a real problem.
It's
Okay. Are you starting to experience that now?
I am.
Okay.
So yes, as I got certified with the state earlier this year, and so the contracts are coming in. And so, and once you again when you get certified, and then they will drop a PO, they'll drop the contract. The once you get it, you have a certain amount of days to get it done. And so it's kind of not an option. Once you go into contract, you don't have an option whether or not you do it or not. You've already signed up. You've already told us
Yeah.
that you want to do this. We selected your business. Here it is. It fits within your price range. We need this done, in 3 weeks. And
Yeah.
so, yes. So last week I got the first one from the state, and it's due. We don't have the option. I mean, it's great. We love it. We're getting it done. But yeah, there are space constraints in trying to get it all processed, where to put it, and then get it, boxed up and shipped out. And so we'll be doing it in phases. We worked it out. I worked for retail and been in warehouses, for
Yeah.
many years, where I can organize, I can pack it up and
Okay.
go.
Well, and I
So
think that that's where you as an individual, like if you're just doing all the work yourself, I won't say that it's simpler, but it is to a certain extent because there's not complexity because you don't have to communicate where things are going and like you just have to remember yourself as you are starting to come up with these plans for how you're going to print things and where you're going to store it. Um, how are you communicating those things to your employees?
Right. I missed that one. So they, I got them because I'm just kind of popping in and out, and because I have so many other things to do. And so I trained them on all the equipment, how to, package it up. And so when it came to boxing it and shipping it out, I walk into the space, and it's a mess, and it's all packed incorrectly, and I'm like, so we have to kind of start all over. So it's those kind of pain points where, like, I can't be with them throughout the entire process. I kind of, I taught them, and then I missed a step, and
Okay.
so I kind of have to own that. And it pushed us a little bit behind, but that's one of those things where, like, okay, should I be in here with you longer to make sure? Should I have you check in with me? So I haven't also been in the space of training and hiring in a long time. So I've been removed from actually hiring and training maybe for, I don't know, 10 years.
Okay.
So I've been in retail for over 20 years and managing businesses, but the actual hiring and training process, I haven't touched that part of the business for a while, and so now it's getting acclimated to that, and now I have to do that.
All right. So as far as like what you're training right now, is it written down on paper?
For me, not for
For
them.
you? Okay.
Yes.
Um, what would it take for to have them like document their belief of like what they're supposed to do?
Nothing. I mean, not much time.
That's so since we're like building the plane while we're in air, that would be the thing that I would encourage you to do because there's something about just the way that our brains work. Um, if I give you a piece of paper and I say, Rashanda, this is when I come in the morning, I'm supposed to turn on the lights, I'm supposed to turn on the equipment, I'm supposed to, run this, then I'm supposed to box this, and this is what I'm supposed to do. You're going to be like, oh, whoa, 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 there's three things that you're supposed to do that you didn't say.
Right.
So having them communicate to you what their plan is and what they think that they're responsible for doing will give you clarity to what's in their mind and what they believe they're supposed to do. And then you can compare that to what you would be doing if you were there. And there's still going to be like a little bit of gap, but I think that you're going to have fewer instances of, oh, wow, like I just completely forgot about that because they're going to be telling you what they plan to do, and you'll be able to kind of reconcile that with what your expectations are.
Yeah, and I mean, they told me that, oh, I'll box it up and ship it off, but there's obviously a certain way that you have to get 100 shirts in a box to fit
Yep.
and ship appropriately, and I didn't realize be, that not everyone knows how to do that. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't, it may seem simple, but it's not. It's a lot of shirts in one box, and sometimes you can't conceptualize it, but they can
Yeah.
fit because I tried
Yep.
it. So I think it's those small details that I do miss.
Okay. With and tell me if this is too like complex of a thing to be doing like for what you're talking about, but I imagine that if if they only put 70 shirts in a box versus 100, that is driving up the amount of boxes that you have to use and the expenses and things like that, right?
Right. Right.
Um,
Correct. Yes.
so I think that as you're doing the training, the more you can kind of think about like, why is this important? Like, why am I asking you to do this specific way? Because I'm just thinking about myself as an employee. I'm doing it and I'm like, well, it's not really that important. If I only get 80 in here, I only get 80 in here without understanding that that's eating into the margin and that, oh, I'm not going to be able to get a raise in 6 months or in a year because I'm not doing things the right way. And the more that I can do things the way that, the boss is saying, and that there's a reason why she's asking me this, that it actually benefits me in the long run.
Got it. I'm sorry, I'm writing notes.
Yeah, no, it's good. And then just so you know, like I have the AI tool on here, so like there will be a summary of stuff, different things, which I find to be super helpful because I think that I've captured everything, and there's always something that I missed, and like the AI notes, it's like, hey, you missed this, and it's like, okay, well that's good. Um, are you familiar with the concept of on-the-job training?
Yes,
Okay. How can you apply the principles of on-the-job training to training your employees?
I use it.
Okay.
So that's day one and day two,
Okay.
um, where I kind of show them, they will watch me and then I will watch them.
Okay.
And so we, you know, try to, and if they missed it, then I'll do it again. And
Okay.
I'll do the process. I'll do what a cadence looks like, and so that you can, effectively, get it done and get it done, quickly.
Okay.
Because that's the entire idea of, we have to get the orders out as soon as possible. We have a short window. Obviously, they don't know that the more time it takes, the less money
Yeah.
I make.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with sharing that with them?
The less money we all make is,
Yeah.
yeah, in
You know,
general. But yes,
one
I
of the
do. I
things.
do share that, but I don't point it towards me.
Okay, yeah. No, I think the we thing is like the most important thing because there's a process that I'll do with clients where it's like a balanced scorecard and we'll define the financial goals. It's like we want to make this much money, and you might not share with your employees like your net income goals, but you definitely want to share like your revenue goals. Like we want to do like 600,000. So then we start thinking about like the customers and I know when we were talking, getting ready for this, you have different customer groups and like making sure
Yes,
that they understand like this is this customer group, this is a very high margin customer, and we need to like do certain things with this, and then this is a lower margin customer, but this customer actually is even more inflexible about dates. Like, you could probably call up some of your corporate customers and say, hey, I'm running a couple days behind. Is it okay? But with the government, you said like they're really strict about it.
very strict. Yes,
So making time to like set goals around those customers, like how many are we going to have? What's the revenue? But then also making sure that they understand like how to engage with those and like being very explicit, I think is super important. And then the next thing underneath that is the process. So that's some of what we're talking about now as far as the on-the-job training and the shipping, but like really trying to, as much as possible, get all the processes on paper so that we're not having gaps. And when you're starting off, I mean, you're just going to have gaps. It's part of the process, but we want to try to minimize the gaps. And then most importantly, when a gap shows up, learn from it and not repeat the same mistake twice.
right.
And then the final thing is around the training, which right now, what I'm hearing from you is you have a lot of balls in the air. You're trying to train yourself on the future, you're trying to train your team on the now. And this kind of goes back to the someday maybe list that, you know, maybe turning down on some of the trainings might be a good thing right now. So you can just shore up your team. Because then once they're shored up, you're going to be able to walk away from them without having to run back, and fix a whole lot of things.
Absolutely.
So I know I just went through a lot right there. What's kind of coming to mind for you?
So I definitely want to put everything in buckets.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how, because though everything is important, what do I tackle first?
Okay.
And so what I'm hearing is that I need to get the process down, train appropriately, and then the balanced scorecards, like kind of show them how I hold myself accountable and
Yeah.
them. So am
What do
I
you
right?
No, you are right. And what I'm wondering is when you think about like what it's going to take for you to be successful, what do you feel is the biggest bottleneck right now?
Probably training my employees because I
Mm.
want them to obviously when that process goes smooth, then we can continue to flow,
Yeah.
flow through everything. As orders come in, we get them done, we get them out. So that will that's the biggest bottleneck, but it's the bigger picture is that I need to get the process down. I need to
Yeah.
figure out what that looks like for them so that they can do their job um, accordingly, and we get those metrics. After that, we can get those metrics in place, and we're all held accountable at that, at that same rate.
Okay. No, I love that. And from everything that I'm hearing, I think you're absolutely right. If you can trust them to produce the product and with the ultimate goal, like you can go away from a week. Like you can go away for a week and not be physically inside of the building and for everything to be going smooth, then that just enables you to do a whole lot of things.
Absolutely.
And you've already proved that like if you go to networking events, you can get the business and all these other things.
Correct.
So what do you feel what's kind of the next big priority as far as process improvement and training the employees?
A bigger building, a larger space.
Yeah. You think that before you can like improve the process that you have to get that larger space?
No.
Okay. So then what do you feel like as far as like the space that you have now, like what's going to help you to be able to go away for a week without having to like be checking on them so much?
What's going to help?
What do you need to have in place?
I mean, the processes, everything is going to boil down to the processes that I have. Like I need to every position I need to identify what each position looks like in my company and um train appropriately, have them recite that back. Like I think it's all going to, I mean, we say it in retail, it's the people business. So we have to take
Yeah.
care of the people. So if the people are taken care of, they have the knowledge that they need to do their job, then kind of everything else should be successful.
Okay. What like as tomorrow starts off and you're going in with this focus on I want to make sure everybody understands their role and that they can fulfill their role. What are some of the first things that um you need to kind of reinforce or help the employees kind of understand?
I want to find out if they know what their job is.
Okay.
So I am going to go into it and have them. Well, one of the things that I do, I mean, it's a little bit, I have them teach me how to do
Okay.
their job so that, not just tell me. If I was a new employee, show me how to do your job. What does that look like? Because, throughout, our time on our jobs, we find different ways to do what it is that we do. Are you doing it right? Or you just decide, or are you taking shortcuts in this? I'm a new employee.
Yeah.
Teach me how to do your job. And so hopefully you're going to teach me the right way. But if you are doing something consistently the wrong way, you're going to teach me the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I'll
No,
know there.
I love that because that's really the last part of that on the job training is like, I'm going to show you and then you're going to do it on your own and then you train other people because when you're training other people, like it reinforces your own learning and it demonstrates that you have the knowledge. So I love that. Um, what do you need to deprioritize so that you have more time to focus on the training?
Everything else.
Okay.
um, Summer's coming, so I think I could not join another boost camp.
Okay.
I've been in them since 2024, January. I've not stopped. I just joined one after the
Yeah.
other. And so I think I could possibly take a break and maybe look into other training opportunities at the start of fall. But I can probably take a break there and kind of go back to the basics of my
Okay.
business and find out what it's going to take to um, build the structure that I need. And it's going to start with the people, with the training, with the processes. And so because the contracts and the quotes, I really can't stop. Like
Yep.
when they come in, I kind of have to do those. Um, Networking events, I don't necessarily have to. Again, summer's coming. I could probably take a break, but wherever we go, it's a networking opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a moment to let someone know about our business and what we do and build relationships there. So I can substitute that when I go to the store or anything outside of the business, I can go in and network. I there's opportunities, so I can take a few things off my list to kind of focus on onboarding and training and processes.
So what I'm into in I drive some people crazy with this is trying to quantify time like for everything. So if we're to say that like how many extra hours would you want to dedicate to training?
I don't know, and I think that's where I probably need guidance because the where I feel people need to be,
Yeah.
um, they're not there, and it frustrates me a little bit because I
Yeah.
feel that you could do more, and maybe you're being lazy, or so I have you know a stigma about people that I probably should move past. But yeah, I think I'm harder on people
Yeah.
than
So, you know, one of the things that I work with people on is this program called Power Six, and Power Six goes through the 6 skills that you need to be an effective leader. And the first one is having a clear vision, which from talking to you, like your vision is super clear. The second one is around building trust, and nothing else really works until like you built the trust. For just the example that you said there, if if you believe that your employees are not working hard or that you can't give them a task, then that's going to drive you to like micromanage and spend extra time and all these other things. So, like, really working on like how am I going to build trust? And part of trust is knowing and accepting people for where they're at.
and that's not so the question was how much time do I feel like I'm going to go through the process and I'm going to go through the training, but honestly deep down inside I feel like I've given you the training that you need and you
Yep.
should just do your job. But obviously that's not the reality because there's mistakes that are happening.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a number. Like, I mean, should I give you, I don't know, 3 more hours a week, 4 more hours, or does it require just 1 more hour?
Yeah.
So I don't have an answer because I feel like you should know, and I'm just kind of recapping this. And so, but there may be a problem. You may not really
Yeah.
understand how to do your job, but it's me. I'm the problem.
Well, and I think that so this is what I'll throw out to you. One is it's all testing and learning. So I'm a big believer in like the 4 step process of like we have our CSA, we have a hypothesis, and we have an action plan. So if we just say that dedicating 2 more hours of training each week is going to help improve their performance, then what we do this week is we figure out where we're going to find those 2 hours, and then you redirect those 2 hours, and then you set some type of measure of I'll know if 2 hours is enough if X happens. And then at the end of the week, it's like no, 2 hours wasn't enough because I'm still having the same problem. So maybe I need to do 3 hours. But if you can do that for like 3 weeks in a row, then I think it becomes really easy for you to make the determination of, okay, I had a hypothesis that it was 2 hours, that didn't work. 3 hours, that didn't work. 4 hours, that didn't work. I'm not willing to give more time than what I'm giving now. So this is not a a me problem. This is really a you problem, and I need to find another you because I can't give more time than what I'm providing right now.
And that I truly needed that because um I'm there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a good fit.
Yeah. And
And it,
I oversimplified it a little bit, but like getting
no, I
really
get it.
definitive as far as what it is, then you can like communicate it to them. It's like, I want you to know, like, my expectations were for you to be at this point, and you're not. And I'm going to own it. There's probably some things I could have done better. There's probably some things that you can do better, but we collaboratively need to come up with a solution. So tell me, what do you need to live up to my expectation? And see if they have some suggestions. Because you might be surprised and they just say, well, this is what I need. And then you'll be good.
Okay.
If they don't have suggestions, then like you have your playbook. It's like, I'm going to do the on the job training. I'm going to go back. And the other thing that, kind of comes to mind to me as far as a suggestion is like today, do you have any remote verification that you're doing that they're executing to your expectations?
No.
All right. So the most simple thing that you can put in place is some check-ins. It's like, I'm not going to be here all day long. At 11 o'clock, I'd like you to give me an update. Text me like what you've gotten accomplished for the day. And if there's some actual things that could be a picture, like send me a picture of your progress. So then there's some checkpoints throughout the day that you can course correct and provide feedback and be alarmed of, things are off schedule and I need to like intervene. And hopefully by you just having that higher level of visibility, you let them know that my goal is that 2 weeks from now, like you're not doing these check-ins. If you're demonstrating to me that you can do this and meet the target without the, quarterly check-ins, then you're going to be good to go. But until we've established that trust that I know that I can be away and everything's going to get done to my expectations, I'm going to be micromanaging you in the short term with the goal of building your competency so I'm not having to do that in the future.
So so you said a safe timeline would be 3 weeks
Tell me what you
to
think is appropriate.
well, because I this is an area that I'm lost about
Mhm.
because I am onboarding. I am training. I have worked with them side by side, and again, I feel that maybe I'm being a little too hard on them, but I also feel like it's um, not complicated.
Yeah.
And so I don't want, and I've been known for that in the industry as, not kind of, giving leadway on mistakes.
Yeah.
So I want to do better in my business and how I manage my own business versus someone else's. And with other companies and corporations, I was financially responsible for their
Yeah.
money and how their hours were spent. And we're paying someone an hourly rate to do this, and you didn't get it done. Then now we're not doing right by the company. And now I'm the company, and I want to make sure you're doing right by the company.
Well, and so to me, I've always been a big person about trajectory. So the real question is, are they getting better each day? And then what is the rate of them getting better?
Got it.
Because, everything's a learning curve. And when you think about trajectory, it's like, am I going like this slow? or am I going like this? And that's what you really need is you need to see that they're making the progress and that at a defined time period that in a perfect world, how long ago did you hire the employees?
Um, One employee has been with me for 1 year,
Okay.
one for 2 months, and one for 3 weeks.
Okay. So when you think back and you compare the performance of the different employees, has the learning curve been pretty consistent?
No.
So what's interesting inside of that, what type of skills do you feel like you need to have to be successful in the work that you're giving them to do?
Organizational skills. They need to um you need to follow steps.
Yeah.
If you don't follow the steps that I give you, like, you just have to be an organized person, because sometimes people are not organized and they got
Yeah.
stuff going on over here, and they're like, "Oh, I'll put it together." And some people work well in organized chaos,
Yeah.
and I've seen that. So I'm not. I don't want to judge or um, manage their workspace, like if that's how they operate. But yeah, you have to be a bit organized in some way to
Yeah.
have a process in which you do things.
Yeah. So I know your background, you've worked for big companies, and I think within big companies, there's a lot more room for specialists and people that are like very unique and different and, not jack of all trades. At the current size of your business, like if you need somebody that's organized and the people that you have are not organized people, like that's just not who they are. I think you're going to constantly struggle because it's just not who they are. And, one of the things I talk with people a lot about is like you have things that are your strengths, you have things that are your competencies, and you have things that are your frustrations. So I think if you can start to figure out, you know, organization or some of the things that are pain points, is this something that is within their competency that it takes a little bit more effort, but that they can do? Or is it something that's in their frustration where it's like it takes all of their energy in order to like do the minimum and within that, because I think that can give you clarity as far as, you know what, this person is an organized person, they're going to pick it up, they're just having a hard time versus um and I'll talk about myself, like I am not a very organized person. So, like, if you brought me on the team and you were like, Dorian, we need you to do this, I probably wouldn't live up to your expectations. From a whole lot of other standpoints, I'd be your best employee. But it's like in that realm, you'd be better served with somebody else. So I think that's where you really having some conversations with them as far as do they feel like this is the right role for them? Do they believe that they're going to be able to grow into that level? Um, because if they don't believe that they can live up to your expectations and that they have the skill sets to be successful, then they're not going to be able to get there.
Got it.
We have about 10 minutes left, and I know that you said that you wanted to get like prioritization and focus coming out of this call. So um and I'll share my screen so we can kind of see the notes that I've taken. So from an organization to time management, start off, you got 3 employees. Their goal is try to get them up to speed with the day-to-day operations. You're feeling like you're having to spend a lot of time following up on tasks. A lot of the work is within like a 9 to 5 type time period, and like a real priority is around government requests. When those come in, like those have to be taken care of like immediately. Um,
Correct.
you have the quotes, which are super important. So I'm highlighting the things that are really like these are like non-negotiables. Like the government requests have to be taken care of. The quotes have to be taken care of. The mock-ups. So these are all things that they're really, the business ceases to exist if you're not taking care of those things.
Correct.
All right. So then what I label as, and tell me if you agree, networking and events. That sounded like something that in the short term you could sacrifice to be able to do other things. Long term, it would cause some harm because that's your revenue engine. But if, for example, this month you only did one networking event versus two, you don't feel like it would destroy the business.
Correct.
All right. And as you're thinking through prioritization, I think that's a good way to kind of think about it. It's like, if I don't do this, will the business cease to exist? If you don't do the government contracts, it's going to cease to exist.
Right.
If you don't do a networking event, it's not going to cease to exist this month. Now, over time, it could be an issue, but like using that as kind of a litmus test might be a good way of you prioritizing.
Right. And the way that those work, generally the turnaround time is a couple of months. So when I go to the networking events, I'm counting those dollars for, for 2 to 3 months down
Yep.
the line. And so that's why I'm constantly doing it, because it's building those relationships for future revenue.
Well, and what I love about that is if you made a decision that in July, it's like, I'm not going to do any networking events in July so that I can get these employees up to speed. Then if we follow that hypothesis, then you plan in August, I'm going to do 4. But I'm going to be able to do 4 because the employees are trained and I can get away and things aren't going to fall apart. So you're going to be 30 days off on some revenue, which, I mean, isn't ideal. But it's something that that you're going to be able to make up, because really your goals are on an annual level, not on just a month level. So like if something just kind of shifts one month to another month, unless it's like a really big part of the business, you still hit the end of year number.
Correct.
All right. The boot camps and classes, that was something that you said that you were willing to kind of sideline for right now and come back to in the future. And then programs and organization. As far as thinking about the rest of June, is that something that you want to continue doing, or is that something that you want to kind of turn down a little bit?
I can pause again. That's one of those. It's their educational programs that I like
Yep.
to kind of be involved in. Veterans partnerships and workshops that I like to join. SBA workshops. So all those are, to continue to keep me knowledgeable about the industry. I can pause. I have not paused for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I
Would you
think
want to color that as red or blue? Red meaning like I'm going to stop it. Blue meaning I'm going to just kind of reduce how much I'm doing of this.
blue,
Okay.
because I definitely want to stay educated in the industry.
All right. So what I'm a big believer in is that strategy is all about what you're going to say no to. So just the minimum thing of you saying, I'm not going to do the boot camps and classes, that's going to give you 1 to 2 hours back a week. And that may be enough to solve the problem. So the more things that we can say 100% no, I'm going to stop is great. And then the other things that you can say, well, I'm going to turn this down if I feel like I still need some time, is good to kind of identify.
And those are like 8 hours a week, because you have the class and then you have the homework that they give you. Now the homework is building your business type of homework, but I've done it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it was about some weeks 10 hours of homework.
Yeah. And so, the reason why you're going to make these adjustments, you need the bigger location that's going to help you with capital. And this is me projecting, and you can tell me if this is accurate. Part of the fear that you have is that you don't have enough information to make the decision, and that you're spending this time getting more information so that you can reduce your fear.
Correct.
All right. But what you actually communicated is the fear is linked to the lack of capital. Like you're trying to solve this capital problem through education. And I mean, we're taught like education is the key to money. But that key, like from everything you've shared with me, I think you have enough education right now to get to your next level. And then once you get to that level, you may have to go back and get some additional education. But the rate that you're consuming education right now, I think, is one of those barriers that's getting in the way of some of your other success.
I agree.
Okay. Just trying to see if there's anything else in here. As far as, and I'll just make this like a one, that the number one priority is to define each role in the company. Number two priority is to, and I would just put verify understanding of roles, and that you'll do that by having the employees teach you. And then the number three, which I think just supports these other things, is saying no. And it's not saying no to everything, but increasing the amount of things that you say no to actually is going to give you the bandwidth to say yes to the things that are super important.
Yes.
All right. How are you feeling about all of this?
Um, it's definitely it's true. I'm trying to I guess figure it all out. Again, it's in my head now. I'm trying to put it into these boxes in my head. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously I'm gonna write it down and I'm gonna come up with a plan. Um, but it all makes sense. Possibly a little overwhelming. I just
Yeah.
but it's not nothing that I can't do. Like I'm completely going to take it on. I mean, it's what I have to do. It's what I do. I I'm an executor, so I'm going to
Yeah.
take all of that in and get it done because it's what needs to be done. So all in all, yes, it looks like it's a it's a lot. You have to say no. You have to get rid of this. You have to you know invest more time here, but it's absolutely necessary to grow. And so I just got to buckle down and do it.
Yeah. I had a boss that used to say, saying no is easier than saying yes because it's fewer letters. And I wish that it was really that true, that it was easier to say no, but I think you've identified like what the upside is for you by saying no to the things that are not unimportant, but just less important, and that,
Right,
dedicating more time to your employees and getting them up to speed. And most importantly, making this decision around like who should stay within the organization and who should leave, I think is going to be the biggest thing, because as a small business owner myself, you want to root for your employees, you want them to be successful, but at the end of the day, like nobody's happy when people are underperforming. So
right,
you're actually doing a service to the employee to help them determine, are they capable, and if they are, giving them all the support. But if they're not capable, helping them to self-elect out, and you can even try to help them find their next gig. But like helping them kind of find the next opportunity so you can get the person that you need so that you can grow your business.
right. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate you allowing me to kind of video record this session so that other people can kind of get an idea of what a coaching session looks like, and hopefully you got some good benefit from it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right,
This
you're
is
welcome. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
okay.